one file, and then that file will have like the snippet of a little bit of code that's used by another file. And so in that way, there's never like perfect separation. So if an agent really wants to like totally encapsulate a function or something, sometimes it'll have to dump around from both. And when that happens, it'll step on the toes of another one. So anyway, when you use work trees in this way, you just eliminate that for being an option completely. Basically, there's just no way that these two can step on each other's toes because they're actually all working in separate folders simultaneously. And because they work in separate folders, that also means if they do make changes, those changes don't always perfectly harmonize right away. And that's where that merge step comes into play. Basically, now after we work on these three different branches, what we also have to do is we need to unify them through some sort of merge function. You can see the prompt for the general purpose services.html one here is you're building the services.html page for left-click agency, work in the work tree at this folder, create the file in here, don't modify the index.html. There's tons of information. If I go back here, we'll see the same thing for contact.html. And so all you really need in order to have a workflow like this that minimizes, dependency risks is just have a Claude.md that outlines what to do with Git work trees. I'll include this file down below so you guys have everything that you need, but taking a look at the about.html here, which is one of the files that this thing just whipped up for me, we've now basically finished the page. It's used some placeholder little flasks here because it wasn't sure what I wanted to do for images. I can add however much information I want here to really flesh it out. But yeah, this looks pretty clean to me. Our principal's ready to work with us. That's really clean. I didn't realize I could do that. Likewise with the contact.html page. So now we have a beautiful contact.html page with like a little send us a message form and so on and so forth. I wonder if that works. Wow, it even has some validation. That's pretty neat. Okay, and then after it's done, what it'll do is it'll merge everything together. So we also have services.html up here too, which is really clean. This looks like a real chunky page, which probably explains why it took much longer. And it looks like it even estimated some prices for me, which is pretty nice. So yeah, suffice to say, Git work trees, while not necessarily the end-all be-all, can be an extra layer of insulation if you guys are using something like, agent teams, or even if you guys are using sub-agents, just using some sort of merge functionality like I talked about. If you guys want more on that, I'll include the Claude.md below so you guys have everything that you need. Okay, so we've talked a lot about using Claude Code to build cool software apps and stuff like that. The last thing I want to talk about is basically just automating or significantly streamlining the process of deploying things to the internet. You guys remember that first site that I made and then the proposal generator and stuff like that? I use a simple service called Netlify to basically push my work live. And that service works really well for static sites. I'm not affiliated with them whatsoever, by the way. Use whatever the heck you want. But what I want to talk about next is using something analogous to that just for backend functions and skills and scripts and so on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to whip up a open conversation. I'm going to jump into bypass permissions, and then I'm going to say deploy a simple API endpoint that returns happy birthday, Nick, if it's my birthday, or no birth today, MF, if it's not. And what I want to do is I want to show you guys how easy it is to basically whip up your own URL that does something for you. This is more of an advanced feature for people that are into automation and workflow building and stuff like that. But basically, these services, in my case, I'm using one called Modal, allow you to whip up like publicly available endpoints or publicly available URLs that you can use and integrate within other applications. A lot of the time, applications will use things called webhooks to send and receive information to and from them, to send events and trigger various pieces of functionality. And this is a quick and easy way that you can basically create a URL that does that for you, as well as integrate it into things like no-code platforms like N8N, Make.com, Zapier, Lindy, etc. So I have my endpoint right over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this curl, okay, which you may be wondering, like, what the heck's going on over here? And then I'm actually going to open up my own terminal instance, and I'm going to paste that in. And so basically what I've done, to make a long story short, is I have generated my own API. Zooming in here, okay, what I've done is I've sent a request to my own website, which was Nicholas Sarayev birthday check birthday.modal run. And then I sent some authorization credentials and stuff like that. And now it's sending me back, a little message, which is basically saying, no birthday today, MF, because it's not my birthday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here, and just to make it even clearer for you guys, okay, this is awesome. Remove the authentication. I want to be able to access this with my browser using a simple get, and then I want to have like a cute little happy birthday or no birthday message. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you that this is analogous or equivalent to just a website. And so what you can do as well is you can basically take whatever you want, whatever piece of functionality, and then immediately deploy like single URLs that people can access to do things, which you may not think is super important. I just opened this up and we have our own little website here. But as you saw there, I mean, all I did was I literally sent like one little message and then boom, it lumped this on, like made this a publicly accessible website. You could do this with anything. You could do this with the websites that we've designed so far. You could do this with the web apps that we've designed so far. And it's just like the simplest and easiest way to get something web accessible, whether you are giving a URL to somebody to have them do something with, creating some additional functionality in your app, logging user visits for things like, ad campaigns and marketing campaigns, or doing direct connections via webhooks and no-code platforms like make.com, N8N, etc. So how do you do it? My favorite service right now is one called Modal. This is basically marketed as AI infrastructure that developers love. It's super easy and straightforward to set up, and every time you click on the page, it expands this damn square thing, which is super, super cool to look at. I love cubes. Clearly, their team has spent a lot of time and energy designing this website. I wonder if they used Claude Code. Anyway, what you have to do first, you have to sign up. So I'm just going to go over here into an incognito tab. I'm going to pretend that I don't have an account yet. Then I'm going to click sign up. Then I'm going to continue with, why don't we continue with Google? Then I'm just going to sign in. Cool. We are now signing in. And the very first thing that happens is you'll have some little onboarding screen that says welcome to Modal. So I'm just going to say personal. And how did we hear about us? Social media. I don't know. I just want to use this for other. Then I'll click get started. What it's going to do now is it's going to give me access to all sorts of stuff. And in the top right-hand corner, as you see, it's given us $5 in credits. You can actually claim up to $30 in credits just by doing a few additional like little onboarding tasks, adding a card and stuff like that. I should note that I've been using Modal for quite a while now. It's probably been like a few months, and I think I'm still at like $4.50 of credit on my main account, where we probably have like an API request coming in every day or two. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Definitely a lot of usage there with the $5. It's way cheaper of a service, I want to say, than like a lot of the no-code tools and automation platforms that I was using before, like make.com and N8N. Over here, what you need to do is create an API token. So I'm going to click new token. I'll say for, what did I actually have over here? That was pretty interesting. Not genuine. Okay, let's do that. And then we actually have the token. So I'm just going to copy this over. And then what I want to do is I just want to paste this in. And in the Claude.md, there's instructions where basically you can just give it a new token and then it'll go and create, all of the stuff for you. So I'm going to include this in, the description down below. You guys can take a peek at this. If you're new to this, all you have to do is just do what I just showed you. And then now you have the ability to basically run this on any account. And you know this because this new URL that I just popped up here, this is on a different service now. It's on my Nick J. Wells account, not my Nicholas Sarayev account, which I was on just a moment ago. But let's say you want to extend this. You don't just want to do a simple URL that, I don't know, like tells you whether or not it's your birthday. You actually want to do something for business purposes. Well, here's where things get really interesting. What you can do is you can take a skill that you've developed before. Then you can just put it up on a URL so that every time you or somebody else accesses a URL, it immediately triggers the workflow. Let me show you what I mean. Remember how when we chatted about skills, I had this one called scrape leads? What if I just copy this and then paste this directly into this folder? I'm also going to wrap it in a .claude and then a skills folder just for organization's sake, because I could tell this is probably going to get pretty complex if I don't. Okay, and now I have it inside of .claude/skills/scrape-leads. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, this is great. What I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to put the scrape-leads workflow online. I want to be able to access it via a simple URL. Basically, when I access scrape-leads, I want a little form to pop up and ask me what I want to scrape. I then fill out that form, and then you execute the scrape-leads workflow, and then return me the leads in a CSV file when it's done. And this has taken us probably less than 2 minutes in total. I just filled out the request. We now have a URL. Just going to open up this URL, which is, as mentioned, the same as any other URL. The search query I'm going to do is I'll just do dentist. I'll say United States. We want, 100 results. Let's make it really small. Now that we've clicked, we're just going to take a few minutes to do the actual scrape. The instructions I gave it were to immediately download the CSV right as this is done. Okay, and then in the top right-hand corner, I have my leads_dentist 100. So I'm just going to take a peek at this, and we have the data right over here. Okay. Looking pretty good. We have 100 leads. Most of these look like dentists, if not all. We also have a bunch of additional data about them, which is pretty badass. So I could use this to build a really cool campaign. And yeah, hopefully you guys now see the power in having something as simple as Modal available to both whip up really quick web pages and internal tooling and even some external tooling, as well as use this to do things like run workflows, right? You can build your own API call or build your own API endpoint, I should say, at really just a couple of keystrokes. And that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed learning everything and anything to do with Claude Code today. You now have everything that you need to build the foundational base of knowledge, whether or not you guys are programmers or completely non-technical people coming into this to learn how to do things like build simple apps, websites, or workflows. I had a blast teaching you guys this sort of stuff. If you've ever wondered how to monetize work like this, whether it is custom app development or workflow building, definitely check out Maker School. It's my 90-day accountability program where I guide you through step by step and quite literally every single day through a sequence of actions necessary to get you your very first customer. And I also guarantee that you get your first customer by the end of a 90-day period. If you don't, I give you all your money back. That's my last and only pitch of this video. Aside from that, I hope you guys like what you saw. If you guys have any questions or need help with anything that I mentioned in the video, just drop it as a comment down below. Aside from that, have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll catch all y'all in my next course.